how do we create jobs and balance that with protecting our natural resources? And it is about balancing. We have to figure that out, and how do we balance those things? National Scenic Area is a good example of that kind of balance. And you mentioned the copper mine. I know you've been reading about my co-sponsorship with Congressman Gosar. And I have to represent the entire district, and the constituents in that area want that mine. So, and I want a place at the table to talk about the things that I'm concerned about regarding that legislation, which are environmental protections, the government-to-government relationship with the tribes, tribal consultations. And so those discussions are ongoing. But I believe that we can create jobs, but with federal action and not necessarily federal dollars. Forest restoration is a great example of that. National Scenic Area is a great example of that, where we're thinking creatively about how we do protect our natural resources, at the same time creating jobs, but not spending federal dollars. And it can be done. When we look at it in that framework and approach it in that way, we can actually come up with good ideas to move forward. There certainly is talk about that, and it involves protecting the environment, protecting jobs, and moving toward a goal of energy independence in this country. And as I said earlier, I think Arizona is a pivotal part of that because of our opportunity with wind and solar. What I'd like to see is a national energy strategy where we start to move toward energy independence now, doing the things that we can do now. And I'll just give you an example. For instance, we have the electric car. It makes sense to run the electric car on the coast because you've got interstate that goes all the way north to south, lots of towns, lots of communities where you take your battery in, get another battery, recharge, and off you're off. Wind and solar makes so much sense here in Arizona, including manufacturing. And so we need to look at those things that we can do right now to start to transition off of foreign oil and move in that direction. And so there is definitely conversation. And the president, mentioned it in the State of the Union as one of his priorities. I'm very concerned about that as well. When I first started as a prosecutor, was in charge of doing all of the involuntary mental health commitments. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so I got involved with an interest in how the court deals with mental health issues. And at that time, formed a committee and we rewrote the Arizona Code on mental health. And it's since been rewritten. But we still haven't done enough, and it's really clear that we need to do more. My colleague, Congressman Ron Barber, has introduced legislation which would increase training opportunities for teachers, for professionals in the community, anybody who wanted to go get training, to help them spot mental illness where it's developing, to give them opportunities to mention resources that are available. So it's a start in the right direction, and there definitely is a lot of talk about just how we do that, and would love to have your thoughts about that. Forest management has always been a top priority of mine because I was born in McNairy, Arizona, which was a timber town, and saw that industry go away. And I've always thought that we need to have the timber industry back as part of that diversification in terms of the economy. And the forest restoration project is a model for doing that. So it's a collaboration with the timber industry. The idea is that they take out the smaller diameter trees and then manufacture a construction composite with that. And so they're thinning the forest, but they're also creating jobs and selling something that they're making out of the wood product. We brought Secretary Vilsack out here to look at our forest, and we took him to an area over near Payson where we had thinned on one side of the road and the other side we hadn't. And it's so dramatic when you actually look at it and look at the difference. And he became a big supporter of the Forest Restoration Initiative and made a comment to me that he thinks that could be a national model for how we manage our forest lands. And so we have to do a better job, but we're learning in the process. But I'm very proud that we here in this district came up with a model, a collaborative model for managing the forests and keeping them healthy that could be used across the country. So the idea now is we're taking a small amount of acreage, we're going to thin it, we're going to test this out. If it works well, like we think it will, well, then we can expand it to all the rest of the forests. Well, I want to leave you with one closing thought. I talked about innovation. Thomas Edison was a great innovator, a great American innovator, and he said this. He said, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it comes dressed in overalls and it looks like work." So, I want to leave you with that thought because we've got an opportunity to do some wonderful things in Arizona, especially here in the Verde Valley, Sedona. But it's going to take a lot of work. We're going to have to work together. So thank you again. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I'll turn the microphone back to Tom. Thank you.